Hey there, guys. How are you? You are going to talk about the unbearable weight of massive talent, aren't you? I could do the beach for hours. Hey there, guys. How are you? Welcome back to a brand new Flick live show where we talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So ask away, and we'll talk about that shit. But real quick, a few big announcements. I did it. We finally did it. I put up my super late The Batman review like last week on the Flickpick channel. So go check that out because I know a lot of people hated me for not doing so for the last month, but it's there. So my sins against humanity have been forgiven. Also, another big congratulations to myself, I guess. We did it, guys. We hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you've ever seen the movie Face Off, the opening scene where Nicolas Cage goes up behind the choir girl and he does the weird face. That's how I feel right now, hitting 100,000 subscribers. So thank you guys. Thank you for that. That feels good. It took almost a decade on this channel. But you know what? It feels like it was so earned on this channel because this is my weird channel. This is just where the weird shit goes. So the fact that 100,000 people said, you know what? I want more of that weird shit. Subscribe. They took a chance. They took a risk. Hopefully it pays off. Hopefully. But either way, thank you guys so much. And it does mean a lot. That felt good. I was like, holy shit. Miracles do come true. All right, let's dive into your questions, guys. Thanks for joining me once again. I hope you guys are having a good night. And most importantly, I hope you guys have something cold to drink, something salty to eat. You guys know how this goes. And I'm going to wear my Nicolas Cage glasses. And in 2 seconds, I'm going to do a quick unboxing of something cool Lionsgate sent me, and then we'll dive into your questions because I already see a ton of them popping up, and I thank you guys for that. But yeah, let's dive into it. So I saw Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent last week. I liked it overall. I would say this would have done much better had it just been released to a streaming service. I think there would have been a lot of discussion and talk about it, and people would have referenced it more when it came out, and it would have been a huge hit. Not to say it doesn't deserve to be in theaters because Nicolas Cage deserves to be everywhere. Okay? And speaking of Nicolas Cage being everywhere, he can even be on your pillow. Oh, what? That's not a Nicolas Cage pillow. You're a liar, John. Oh, no. It is a Nicolas Cage pillow. And I'm going to lay my head upon this every night, gently, as Nicolas Cage takes me off to dreamland. Oh, gosh, John. You going to go to bed or something? Yes, I am Nicolas Cage. Yes, I am. So that's a glorious pillow if I've ever seen one. They also sent me a coffee mug that says, Nick fucking Cage, yeah! That's what it says. They sent me this book, Age of Cage, which I actually do want to read. I think what I'll do with this is leave this in the bathroom. This is toilet reading material, and I mean that in the best possible way. That is where my reading comprehension skills come to life, is when I'm on the toilet. So this will be right there amongst the porcelain throne. They also sent me... They sent me this Nicolas Cage coloring book, which I'm really looking forward to. I think I'll give this to one of my nephews on their 7th birthday or something. I don't know. Wouldn't that be a good time? All right. And they also sent me this Nicolas Cage hat that he wears in Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I liked the movie overall. I feel like every time Nicolas Cage was just being Nicolas Cage, I could watch that all day. I didn't need the over-the-top meta subplot. I think the first act of the movie was the best, and it kind of just was like the joke's getting old, but Nicolas Cage never got old, if that makes any sense. Really what I'm saying is, I could watch Nicolas Cage in a 90-minute film where he's stuck in an elevator the entire time by himself, having conversations by himself. That to me would be the ultimate Nicolas Cage movie. I don't need anything else surrounding him. I don't need any action scenes or crazy over-the-top stuff. That's all I need. Just give me some Cage, baby. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, I'm just going to dive into your questions, guys. Let's see. We got one here from James Dozier, who's been a member for 7 months. Yay! Thanks, James. Hey, John. How's it going? Hope you've been doing well. That's an easy enough question to answer. I'm doing good, man. Feeling hyped. I feel like I'm the only guy that drinks pre-workout when it comes to making YouTube videos, but for some odd reason, I just want to give you the best version of me. It's not even pre-workout. It's actually Windex that you clean your windows with. But thanks for the question. Majestic Beast01 says, John, 5 favorite movies of all time. I hate that question. I have a top 20 movies of all time video. It's hard for me just to give you top 5s and top 10s off the top of my head. I mean, somewhere in that list, something's going to be skewed unless I sit down and think about it. I would say Nightcrawler still my top 5. Terminator 2 Judgment Day still my top 5. Point Break still my top 5. Those are the 3 guarantees I can tell you that are in my top 5. I'd have to put more thought into it beyond that. Josh Coffey, who's been a member for 12 months. Yay, Josh. Fast 10 loses director 10 days into shooting. Uh-oh. That's a sign, isn't it? It's almost a sign like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. We should have stopped 4 movies ago, but we're still going. I put out a tweet about this. I said, wouldn't it be amazing if they just handed over the directing reins to Vin Diesel? Just imagine that movie. Because let's be honest. It's Fast 10 isn't going to be the next epic movie of all time. Okay? It's not going to be on this pedestal. It's down here, way down here in the trash. But I don't want to watch bombastic over-the-top car action with Vin Diesel saying family every 12 seconds. But what I do want to see is over-the-top bombastic car action with Vin Diesel saying family every 10 seconds if he directs the movie, and it's so bad that I can enjoy it in that sense. That's what I would like to see. Or what they could do is they could have Fred Durst, who directed The Fanatic, maybe he could step in and direct this movie, because it needs that. It needs to be so bad that it's funny. That's the only thing left for the Fast and Furious franchise. I did attempt to watch Fast 9 a month ago. I made it 37 minutes into the movie. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is a real movie. And I was taking notes about the movie. I don't know why. I ended up with like 3 pages of notes within 30 minutes. And I was like, I can't. It was just too much. Charlize Theron with her little simple Jack haircut, a little boy bowl cut. I just couldn't look at her anymore. But yeah, Fast 10. Does anyone want to see this movie? I don't know. If you do, let me know. We got one from DJ Crack Mix. John, would you watch a reboot of Jingle All the Way with The Rock where the son has terminal illness? Well, that got dark pretty quick. And his last wish is to get a Turbo Man doll. Also, there's a subplot with the mom using drugs. Now, to me, that sounds like the next A24 film they need to make. Any film, if you just change the tone, it can be so different. Like, if you just did that movie right there, that could be one of the best movies ever made. Like, that could be the over-the-top dramatic movie of the year right there. It has all the workings it needs to be. Yes, I would like to watch that. Yes, please. Except now, the character is Sinbad in the film, the other dad chasing down the Turbo Man doll. Let's just say he pushes it even further. Like, he's killing motherfuckers to get this Turbo Man doll. Like, no longer is he just attempting to kill Jamie during a parade. He's literally killing people along the way. Now, that would be the darkest movie ever. It would be like 7 meets Turbo Man, or 7 meets Jingle All the Way. And I say, yes, please. That's the Christmas holiday movie I want. Why is the intro different? The intro is not different. It has different music. I'll give you a backstory real quick if you really want it. Epidemic Sound, which I pay a subscription fee every month to use. Well, if you want to use their music, their royalty-free music that you pay to use, you have to pay for a subscription on each of your channels. So I didn't know that for a while, and what they were doing is, even though I was paying for the music to use, I have it for the Flick Pick channel, but for my second channel, John Flickinger, they were giving me copyright claims that I had to dispute every time I uploaded a video using the music I already paid to use, which makes no sense. If you're paying for a service, you should be able to apply that music to anything that you do on YouTube. It shouldn't just be per channel. That makes no sense. So don't ever use Epidemic Sound. I fucking hate them. I hate that service. I'm sort of stuck with it right now, but I hate it and I don't recommend it. Also, I'll tell you one thing I don't hate before we continue on. I did upload a brand new Flick Trip video 5 days ago. 5 days ago. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. But we go on a quest to find the Spider-Man No Way Home Steelbook. And spoilers, I don't find it, but it's a really good video nevertheless, where we talk about a lot of different things. But most importantly, if you guys want to win this copy of Spider-Man No Way Home, the ugly copy of it with this terrible slipcover that just... What is this? This makes me not want to watch the movie. So drab and tiresome, and there's a web going up his ass. But yeah, if you want to win the copy of this, go to the newest Flick Trip video and just leave a comment and a like, and I will announce the winner on the next live stream. So go check out the newest Flick Trip video and win some free stuff. All right, the next one comes from someone's Mr. 47 says, nice shades. Well, thank you. These are my Nicolas Cage shades. There's a man out there with his finger on a button. All right, let's keep going. I need to open up the other window here. Hang on. It's been a while. I always get confused how to do these. All right, there we go. Okay, here we go. I'm ready. All right. Daniel Jones says, what's on the menu for dinner tonight? Unless you've already eaten, then what did you eat? I love these questions. These are the thought-provoking questions I love to answer. I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I have been on a weird, almost, I don't want to say like, I'm fasting. It's not that. I just feel better when I eat like 1 or 2 meals a day. So I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I might eat a Subway sandwich. I don't know. Maybe. Sounds like a lot of bread. I'm not quite sure. But thank you for the question. Kevin L. says, would you like to see an American Psycho remake with Nicolas Cage as Patrick Bateman? I think we're past that point, no, but I would like to see a dark comedy with a sociopath. Yes, I could watch that type of movie every week. Those are typically movies I like and relate to. Take that how you will. But something along those lines I would like to watch. Tom Yum says, Vincent and Jules are Rick and Cliff. I'd rather hang out with Rick and Cliff because they seem a little bit less psychotic. And Rick Dalton, honestly, I relate to that character so much. I just relate to him so much. There's little nuances. And that scene where he goes into his makeup trailer and just loses his shit in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that is one of my favorite scenes in any movie for the last 10 years. I just laugh my ass off every time I watch it. So yeah, I'd probably rather hang out with Rick and Cliff Booth, but Vincent and Jules would be cool as long as Vince wasn't turned around pointing a gun at me in the back of a car. That would be the reason I would be apprehensive to hang out with them, especially if they go over a bump. Nick Lorillo says, thoughts on Better Call Saul this season? Yeah, I'm on the 3rd episode. The new one comes out Monday. I like it so far. I would say the least interesting storyline in this newest season is probably revolving around Saul Goodman. Everything else is great. Everything with Mike and that entire thing and Gus and the cartel, everything is great there. I liked where that was going. But yeah, it almost feels like Saul Goodman sort of took a back seat thus far in his own series, but I'm hoping it picks up. But I love it so far. I did watch, I have 1 episode left of Ozark, the second part of season 4. And that's sort of one of those shows where you can just keep it on in the background and not even pay attention to, and you almost miss nothing. Like, I hate to say it, but I'm not a fan of this season. It just feels like it's way too far-fetched. Just some of the shit they're doing, the character logic makes no sense anymore. I'm just like, okay, you wouldn't do that. Stop doing that. It's like, what more does it take? No one could keep this many secrets. Potted Plant Entertainment says, rank the Paul Verhoeven Hawley trilogy. We're talking about RoboCop and Total Recall and what else? Starship Troopers? What's the Hawley trilogy? Which one are you referring to? I would say RoboCop's by far my favorite. I think, you know what it is? I think I like Total Recall, but I don't find it that rewatchable. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times in my life, but it's like RoboCop and even Starship Troopers, way more rewatchable when it comes to his movies. But I do like his comedic tone. For a very long time, a lot of people didn't pick up on what he was doing. I've talked to people who still don't get the comedy in his movies. And I'm like, how do you not see it? I'd buy that for $1. He was just ahead of his time. Pulp Culture Podcast says, hey, John, been watching your channel for about 8 or 9 years. I love your content and your energy. My question for you is, can I interview you for my podcast next month? Possibly. Did you send me an email or did I make that up? Someone sent me an email and I said, yeah, give me like maybe next month would be a good time. So shoot me an email. The email is in the description. and we'll try to set something up. And I thank you for the question, man, and the super chat. Very much appreciated. But yeah, we could do something. We can make it happen. Rocky90 says, hey, John, $1 chicken sandwich or frozen pizza? I'm going to go with the frozen pizza. That $1 chicken sandwich, I'm not sure how much of that was chicken or just sponge material that they found in a landfill. Probably the frozen pizza. You don't want to eat a $1 chicken sandwich. You really don't. You really don't. Like, how could they afford to make that $1? Forbidden Fruit 73. The first vid I ever saw from you was your top 10 comic book movies from back in 2012. Have you ever thought about doing an updated version? I think there's probably a logical reason to do a top 10 new version of that, seeing how we've had 87 more comic book films that are probably better. Gosh, I forgot I made that. I remember doing my top 10 worst in like 2014, but I think there's time. Yeah, I think there's justification to do a new top 10 comic book movies. Yeah, I think I could do that at some point. That could be a video idea. Speaking of comic book movies, did you guys buy your Doctor Strange movie tickets? I know I got mine. The crazy thing is I bought mine for Thursday. I bought them for like a 4 o'clock showing. And then I got lucky enough to get a press screening for the Wednesday showing, but I have to drive 2.5 hours to see Doctor Strange in Columbus. So if you guys are seeing the Columbus Doctor Strange screening, I'll be there. So we can give each other high fives, hugs, whatever else you want to do. But yeah, I hope to see you there if you guys are going to the Columbus screening of Doctor Strange. I'm looking forward to that shit. MK at 30 says, what are your top 3 villains ever? Joker, Vader, Sauron. I think, are we going like real villains? Are we going comic book villains? Okay, so Vader's a damn good villain. Joker's which interpretation of the Joker? We're going to go with Heath Ledger's? Okay, we're going with Heath Ledger's. But I would throw in like Hannibal Lecter, Buffalo Bill into that mix. I would probably throw in... that's kind of a reach. I was going to say Danny DeVito's Penguin just because he's utterly disgusting and murders children. I mean, how much more of a villain could you possibly be? But that's what he's doing. Those are a few I would throw in there. I made a video called Top 10 Movie Villains of All Time like 10 years ago. But I would probably tweak a few things. Let's see here. We got Ender Sandoval. I know I said that wrong, but I'm sorry. John, remember that cute bartender 10 years ago? That was my mom. So if you want to avoid child support, answer this. Okay. What are your thoughts on Starbucks? I don't go there typically. I'm more of a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee guy. Starbucks for me is just... out of principle, I just feel like I can't do it. Not to say I haven't been there, but I just can't justify paying $6 for some coffee with some whipped cream in it. I don't know. Call me crazy. Typically, I don't go there often. I usually just buy iced coffee at the store, and I can chug iced coffee every day. I could chug a gallon of iced coffee a day. It's nothing to me anymore. It just hydrates me at this point. James Dozier says, I watched the Dark Knight trilogy this past week, and I still think the Dark Knight is the best in the trilogy. Would you say the Dark Knight is still the best Batman movie still? I think the Dark Knight Rises is a flawed movie, and Batman Begins is great. I think the Dark Knight is overall the best rewatchable, well-paced Batman film that gives you the most bang for your buck. But the Batman that has recently come out, I would say it's the best Batman movie, right? So if you want to pick a movie, like if you just want to watch an action crime drama movie, I think The Dark Knight would be the better movie. But if you want to watch the best Batman movie, well, I think The Batman would be that. But in all fairness, I've said this before, I think that's a hard comparison to really make at this point, seeing how the Batman is the first one yet in this trilogy. So when we get a sequel, let's compare that sequel to The Dark Knight, right? I'm still like on the fence what I like more. You know, The Dark Knight, the Batman. I love me some of the Batman Begins. I really do, but it's definitely like the top 3, but I don't know if it's number 1. Lewis says, "Do you know why they call a quarter pounder with cheese? Oh, do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris? A royale with cheese. That's right. Absolutely, man. And they serve beer at McDonald's. Let's see what else we have here. Mike Peters says, John, what are your thoughts / expectations for Avatar 2? What is it called? The Way of Water or some bullshit? The subtitle isn't exactly that clever, I would say. But I do have a thirst to watch it. I do want to see it. I really do. And I know that trailer is supposed to play before Doctor Strange, which I'm looking forward to. I need to see that trailer. That in itself, I do want to talk about just in a video. I'm looking forward to it. I have high expectations. I like the first Avatar. Do I think it's the best movie ever? No. But do I like looking at it at 2 o'clock in the morning on a rainy day? Yes, I do. It's fun to look at. It's a visual experience, right? That's what movies are. Do I think there was any cultural impact whatsoever with the film? No, absolutely none. Do Jake Sully's skinny little legs disgust me when I look at them in the beginning of the movie? Yes, they do. But I'm really looking forward to the sequel. I'm hoping it's good. I have faith in James Cameron, but The Way of Water just sounds so hokey. Like when you look at the logo for it, reminds me of like a PC game that would have come out in 1995. Like a point and click PC game. I don't know why it reminds me of that, but just the way it looks with the font of Avatar and it says The Way of Water. I don't know what it is. It almost looks like it could be like a new vegan energy drink or something. Avatar, The Way of Water. That's what I like. This right here could be called Avatar, The Way of Water. Like it sounds like a drink, not a movie, but I do want to see it. Let's keep going. Max Nugenbauer says, hey, John, hope you're doing well. Ambulance was awesome and is a better Bay movie than The Rock. Fantastic Beasts 3 was decent, but Morbius sucked. I will disagree with what you said there with prejudice. I thought Ambulance, I was looking forward to Michael Bay making like a simplistic action movie. I was hoping it would be something like The Rock. But after the first act, it was awful. It was a terrible movie. It was terribly directed. Now, had Ambulance been directed by a director like Michael Mann, which this movie almost felt like it was lending itself to be a Michael Mann movie, just with everything they were doing, with it taking place in L.A. and the shootout sequences, it felt like a Michael Mann movie, but then Michael Bay hijacked the script and made it Bayham. And yeah, I love The Rock. I love it. I love it more than life. But Ambulance just wasn't it, man. The third act I thought was cringeworthy at best. I was rolling my eyes. I was taken out of the movie. The plot to the movie just, as it unraveled, I was like, these criminals, for being organized bank robbers, are pretty fucking stupid. And I was like, what do you, like, only these bank robbers would rob banks without masks. Why? Jake Gyllenhaal just robs a bank without a mask. What was your plan? What were you trying to get away? No, not okay. I could continue. I don't want to spoil anything, but then it just has random drone shots where they hired some kid who was like a drone racer to shoot these random shots of like buildings and then parking garages, and there's nothing to do with anything happening in the story. It's like if I just took the camera and just started like waving it around in my room as I was talking and showing close-ups of nothing. That's what it fucking felt like in Ambulance. I hated it. I thought by the end of the movie, it was laughable because you have, I won't spoil it for you guys, but you just have one character that has no authority just pushing SWAT team members out of the way. I'm going to handle this now. It's my job. And then at the end of the movie, it has like a slow motion clip of her like walking away. And I don't know. I thought it was bad. I really thought it was bad. And it's 25 minutes too long. I don't think it was a return to form for Bay. As much as I wanted it to be, it was not. We have one here from Two. Hey, Two. Great Batman review. The movie was what we fans deserved. Batman sequel was greenlit last week. Thoughts / expectations / predictions. Thanks, bro. Thanks for the question. Yeah, the Batman 2 was greenlit. Matt Reeves is coming back. Rob Pattinson is coming back. By the way, I've started watching the Twilight films for the first time in my life. And I will say, when you take edibles and watch them, I've never laughed harder in my life. I think I almost puked out my lungs. I was laughing so hard yesterday. But let's get back to the Batman 2. I'm looking forward to it. I have high expectations. I'm hoping the studio throws a little bit more money at it this time. I have no clue who the villains are going to be. Mr. Freeze has been rumored for a while now. Obviously, the Joker has been rumored with a deleted scene, so he's probably going to have some kind of placement in this movie. Though I would say I don't want Joker to ever be the main villain of any of these movies. I think the Joker in this version of Batman would work better in small doses, sort of being the Hannibal Lecter to this Batman, like little increments where he lives in Arkham. He has some communication with Batman. He has communication with some of the other villains, but he's never the main antagonist. That's what I'm hoping to do with the Joker. But yeah, I'm hoping they go a little bit bigger with the movie, and I think here's how I'm looking at this. This is like the Batman Begins, and hopefully the next installment is sort of like the Dark Knight Rises. They go a little bit bigger with the next one, and I think they can do that. This was sort of like the training ground for year 2 Batman. Now he's sort of getting into the groove, and he's got it down. And I want to see that version of Batman where everything's just tweaked and ready to go, and he's perfected it. So, when are we getting the Batman 2? Maybe 2024? I can't imagine any sooner than 2024. But I'm hoping they start on that quick. Claudia Rojon says, we talk about movies, but how much has music gotten? Oh, how bad has music gotten? Music, I don't know. Every once in a while on Spotify, I found a cool song I like occasionally. But sometimes when I come across like a Cardi B video, I'm like, what would my grandmother say if she just, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. That's making lots of money. I sound like an old man, but it's bizarre to me. Do you think in 50 years that's going to be a classic? Do you think 50 years they're going to play that on the classic radio station or whatever, and it just comes on and old people are listening to that? That's going to be an interesting time, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think I think quality has dropped, but being bombastic and over the top as you possibly can to get attention, that's what's selling. It's not so much the music. But that's my opinion. What do I know? I listen to German metal music at 3 o'clock in the morning. What do I know? Carter Lovejoy says, thoughts on Avatar 2's title, The Way of Water? Yeah, it sounds terrible. The Way of Water I don't think is the most enticing title. The Way of Water. Water is Wet will be the third movie. I hope the 4K, the original film, later this year with 3 cuts of the film, all the special features, and maybe a 3D Blu-ray and bonus. Yeah, if they don't put out a 4K of the original film by this point, and James Cameron doesn't get his shit together and push that before this next installment comes out, that would be baffling to me that they won't do that. I think once it has its next theatrical run, because they did revamp the movie, and I think they redigitized some things in the movie or whatever, I think they're going to take that version, put it onto a 4K disc and sell it probably next fall before the release of the new Avatar movie to kind of just remind people, hey, remember this movie that came out 25 fucking years ago? Here it is again. And guess what? You're getting 5 more. Get ready. We're going back to Pandora. Paint yourself blue and get ready, baby. Let's connect our tails. Yeah, so yeah, I think I just answered your question. James Dozier says, have you seen the movie Legend with Tom Cruise? I've seen it once. I've also seen Willow, which kind of came out around the same time, both fantasy movies. And I think Legend with Tom Cruise was by far the worst one. I don't remember a lot about it. I would like to go back and revisit it, though, sometime. Pulp Culture Podcast has become a member. Thanks, man. Yay! Josh Coffey says, The Art of the Batman book is great. A great read, must buy. Is it? Okay. Are you talking? Is that the novelization that came out before the movie, or is this something else? I've heard it has more information on it, but I don't know much about it. Maybe one day I'll get around to it. Dustin Rich says, have you noticed Moon Knight doesn't star Moon Knight? Do you care? Does anyone? No, I certainly do not. I watched the first 3 episodes of Moon Knight. I did give it a chance, and I just kind of don't care. I just don't. There's nothing you could possibly do with any of these characters to make me care. Will I probably go back and binge watch it once it's finally completely out on a rainy day? Maybe, or maybe I'll just watch the last episode because I don't feel like you'd need to watch anything besides the first 2 episodes and the last episode. Like, I just feel like nothing in between. Like, there's probably 3 bullet points I need to know going into that final episode eventually. So yeah, I gave it 3 episodes and I stopped caring. And I will say that's sort of what I've done with all of the Marvel shows on Disney Plus. By like the 2nd episode, I'm like, okay, it's not selling me on anything happening in this. Why? Why can't they just make a really thought-provoking, immersive Marvel show? It's like they tiptoe around, play it so safe, and drag everything out. The Hunt for Gollum. Congrats on 100K! Well, thanks for that. Yay! Yeah, guys, it's... that's crazy. This is always just going to be my weird channel. I had no expectations for it. So I do thank you guys for that. And the last 20,000 for this channel came pretty quick over the last year or two, I will say. I mean, as soon as I started doing the live streams, I guess when you make more videos, more people subscribe. Crazy, right? Who would have thought? It's like, whoa. But yeah, thanks for that. I hope to apply for a new play button, because that would be cool to have 2 play buttons. I never thought that would happen when I started making YouTube videos, to have 2 of those bad boys. I had the old play button back there. But the new ones look way cooler, so I'm hoping to get one of those. But thanks, man, and thanks to all of you. Patrick says, what is your favorite violent mayhem scene in a movie? Where do you start with that shit? I really love the scene in Old Boy, the original South Korean film, where he takes a hammer and beats the shit out of 25 guys in a hallway in a one-take shot. That is a great scene. An Old Boy, go watch that if you haven't. That always goes on the top of my head as like a great mayhem scene. But that's a great question for you guys. I want you to chime in. What do you think is a great, over-the-top, violent, horrific mayhem scene in a movie? Let me know in the chats over here. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see. And Max, I did talk about your question. And Morbius did suck. Yes, very much. I have a video on this channel, my first reaction after it. I hated it. Does the Sonyverse have any hope at this point? I mean, do they have any hope? I don't think does anyone care? I wanted to care. I think if they got competent writers and directors, they could probably make a good Sonyverse. And there's a lot of money and potential there. But if Morbius is the best way you're going to start that shit, I think it was dead on arrival. Ed Chattelburr, no question, but thanks for the... here's a question from Ed. Thoughts on Drugstore Cowboy / ever thought of writing a script? I have Drugstore Cowboy. I don't think I've seen that. Have I ever thought about writing a script? I thought about writing something. Yes, I had an idea. I had a synopsis for a film. I had a concept. I have a few concepts. And they're always sort of like the same similar story, but just different people in different situations. But the tone is always the same. To sit down and write a script, I don't know. I think that would be all-encompassing, and I would be addicted to it. And then once I was done with it, I wouldn't know what to do with it, and that would really frustrate me. So, no, I haven't had any actual plans to write a script. Oink Master Supreme Forever says, Logan should have been nominated for Best Picture, yes. I could see that. I don't remember who won it. What was that, 2016? Or 2017? Was that early 2017? Yeah, I don't recall. It could have been nominated. I don't know why not. But the Academy doesn't like comic book movies, man. So Obi Reviews says, which detective character from another universe would you like to see Batman team up with? Mine would be Russ Cole from the Detective Season 1. Oh, yeah, True Detective Season 1. Yes, yes. Okay. How about Inspector Gadget? Fucking Dr. Claw's the villain. Inspector Gadget, I'll get you next time. And then you have Penny in there. Penny, come here now. That's how isn't that how Dr. Gadget is? What the fuck is Detective Gadget talks? I don't remember. But your idea was probably better. Yeah, I would say put Woody Harrelson in there and Matthew McConaughey from True Detective Season 1 teaming up with Batman. Even the tone would actually blend if you think about it. When the guy went down the shark's throat with the chainsaw in Sharknado. Okay, good one. John Wick 3 is the best John Wick movie so far. The knife scene from John Wick 3, yeah, that was a good knife fight. The murder spree in the second Suicide Squad was pretty hilarious. End of Kill Bill Volume 1. Yeah, or if we're talking about Tarantino movies, man, if you want to get violent mayhem, Jesus, where do you even pick? You could pick any of them for this. I mean, if you pick the last 20 minutes of The Hateful Eight, it gets pretty crazy and bloody and violent. That would be another one of my picks. Or the end of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is pretty good. Someone said Raid for one of the best mayhem violent movies. Yeah, that's a good one as well. Majestic Beast 01 says, choice of Fast 4 director due to John Watts exiting. Oh, F4 director. Okay. I just, when I see F, I think Fast and Furious. Fantastic Four director. I'm okay with John Watts not directing it, to be honest with you. I don't necessarily love his look of movies, and maybe that's more of Marvel's involvement I just think they need a different look to them. I think they all kind of look Marvelized, like a little bit overlit at times. If I had to pick someone, if John Krasinski is going to be Mr. Fantastic, which I don't know if he is, why not have him direct it and star in it? I don't know. I think that would be interesting. The guy can direct a movie, so why not? Jesus Salcido says, thoughts on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial going on? That's just crazy. That's crazy shit, man. When you hear some of the stories of how toxic and crazy both of them are. Now, Johnny Depp, I'm rooting for Johnny Depp. But that's not to say they're both not crazy celebrities who have just been in the limelight way too long where they've lost all sense of reality. Like Amber Heard sounds like a shitty person by all means. And I like me some Johnny Depp. He seems like a likable dude. But they're just both, like, reality went bye-bye to both of them a long time ago. And it's just like, their entire relationship reminds me of something like A Star Is Born, where you just have these, like, two toxic people, and like they have likable traits, sort of, kind of, but you just know they're terrible for each other, but they still stay together, and by the end of it, you just don't care anymore. So that's how I feel about their entire trial. At the end of the day, no matter what, they're both multimillionaires, and everything's going to be okay. So why do I care? You know, I don't. It's not like a murder trial where someone did something unspeakable. It's just like, like, I don't care. I really don't. They'll be fine either way. But it is kind of shitty how the thing that I would say, though, to take away from this is the fact that every studio treated Johnny Depp like he was guilty before he was proven innocent. I think that's a backwards mentality a lot of people have nowadays. If anyone even makes a claim, everyone shadow bans that person into obscurity. And I think that's not right. I think we need to change that. It happens all too often nowadays where someone can lie. It's a blatant lie, but then the other person has to deal with all the repercussions of it. And I don't like that shit. I will say that. So I hope if anything, this sets a new precedent for that. Rod Thunderheart, I like that. Sounds like an 80s porn star. Have you seen Rumble the Indians Who Rocked the World? No, I have not. I don't know what that is. I have not seen that. Someone enlighten me. Clark Ingleton says, thoughts on Stuckman's words. There's always plenty of original great films coming out. You just have to find them. Paraphrasing there, laugh aloud. Yeah, there's always handfuls of great original films that come out. Yeah, and they're few and far between, and they don't get the limelight that they probably should. And they always, the thing is, studios look at those movies like, oh, we'll throw a little bit of money at them. We're not going to push them too much. We'll put them on in a theater, like 8 theaters, and then we'll pump it out on streaming services. Yeah, it's a scary thing happening nowadays where original ideas are few and far between. And I'm hoping they come back at some point. But unless you have like an IP or a comic book character in your movie, it's just like no one gives a shit and it gets a small budget. But they're out there. You just have to find them. I do agree. Kevin L. says, worst movie of 2022 so far. Morbius? Like, I think if I had to pick one, probably Morbius. Like, for me, when it comes to saying what's the worst movie, I always here's some factors I consider. First of all, is Jared Leto playing a comic book character? Okay, it's already on the tier of being terrible. But yet, do you have hundreds of millions of dollars to use in your movie? Did you have everything you needed to make a good movie? Did you have production value? Did you have a cast and crew? And if you still can't make a competent, slight, entertaining movie, then there was no excuse. So I would say Morbius thus far is probably the worst movie I have seen. That was the biggest letdown and the biggest piece of shit that cost a lot of money to make. I'm sure there's something else I watched, but off the top of my head, I'm gonna stick with Morbius. If the shit didn't quit, you must have quit. That is true words, man. Amber Heard is the scary. When I think of like dating a woman, Amber Heard, that is, and I read people very well. I can tell when someone's utterly insane. I can, but that is my fear when it comes to the dating world. Okay, just waking up with defecate beside. Oh god, rolling over on that. Okay, let's keep going. On a happier, lighter note. Stan Adrian says, what is your favorite moment in the Big Lebowski? I don't even know how to pick a favorite moment. Anything with John Goodman is great. Anything with his character in the movie is phenomenal. You want to tow? I can get you towed by 2 o'clock with paint, dude. Well, hey, man, there's a beverage here. I like every scene that they're in the bowling alley. Every scene where they're in the bowling alley just talking and hanging out, I love. Especially the one scene where John Goodman pulls a gun out. Mark it! Over the line! That's phenomenal to me. Clark Ingleton says, is Amber Heard into scat in the bedroom? Probably. I'll probably get sued for defamation for saying that, but then I'll sue her for defecation. I thought that was funny. All right, let's keep going. I'm sorry. Chigga Honey Iced Tea says, hey, John, do you think the prominence of Marvel movies over the last few years is good or a bad thing for cinema as a whole? Do you think oversaturation of MCU films has harmed the future of non-franchise big-budget films? For instance, The Last Duel. Great question, very loaded question. I don't think The Last Duel was ever lending itself to be this box office success. I like me some Ridley Scott. I do. I love Gladiator. But The Last Duel was no Gladiator. It wasn't this easy viewing experience, blockbuster time epic movie. It was a slow burn, right? It was a time period film. It had a little bit of like epicness in it, and I liked it overall. I'd probably never watch it again. But The Last Duel was never, I don't think it had any chance of being this big box office success. I never thought it even had the slight ability to do that. Now, had it been a different story, something more along the lines of Gladiator per se, that appealed to a wider demographic of people, I think it would have been a success. So I just think that story in itself would have been something more for the small screen at home. If anything, I feel like The Last Duel should have been maybe a 6-part HBO miniseries. I really think that's what it should have been, and I think that's what it would have. I think that's what it lent itself to be. It wasn't necessarily this theatrical film that I think a lot of people needed to run out and see. So I wouldn't compare the two, really. I think it's almost uncomparable. But do I think there's an oversaturation of MCU films? Hey, they're still entertaining. They're still good. A lot of them, they're getting better as they go for the most part. I mean, so I don't mind having an MCU film or a big comic book movie that's well done. I just wish there was more originality in between those big movies. How do you want Halloween Ends to end? I just want it to end. I don't know. At this point, with the second movie and the 2018 movie, I don't know, man. Like, I think, do you want to kill off Jamie Lee Curtis? I would say no. I think she deserves to live. If they kill her off, I think that would be a detriment. I don't think she needs to die. And will Michael Myers ever really die? I don't know. For the sake of making more Halloween movies in 3 more years, maybe not. So, I don't know. I think you need to kill Michael Myers. I think you just need to kill him. I want Jamie Lee Curtis to ride off into the sunset. That's what I would like to see. Where am I at here? Okay. Kevin Michael Joyce says, "Hey Flick, you just mentioned you took edibles. Just curious, what has been your experience with marijuana, if you don't mind me asking?" I take legal edibles. They're like Delta 8s and 10s or 12s. I don't know. They're legal. Completely legal. You can eat them, chew them, do whatever you want with them. That's all I take the gummies, man. I treat them like Sour Patch Kids. I'm not too hardcore into anything else. Just I buy the legal ones, consume them every once in a while when I watch a bad movie, and it makes that bad movie that much better. Patrick Bateman says, "Been out partying. I'm winding down with this." Well, yeah, man, I like to cool you guys down after a long day with the soothing sounds with Flick Pick. Lando Calrissian. I'm just gonna talk like Lando Calrissian for the rest of this live show. You space pirate, you. MVS says, recently watched your worst of 2021. Was surprised Home Alone was only number 10, given how much you love the original. Yeah, but Home Alone, Home Sweet Home, I knew it wasn't going to be good. So it wasn't like, oh, I had high expectations for such a movie. I knew it was going to be shit just based on the concept alone, and then I watched it and it was shit. So I knew what I was getting when I got it, so I just threw it in there. I didn't expect anything more. Lucas Bernaskowitz says, "Have you caught up on Saul season 6? It's great." Yeah, on the 3rd episode right now, waiting for the 4th one Monday. Can't wait. I like it, man. We talked about it earlier in the live show if you missed it. Faisal H says, "Choose one, Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad?" Probably Game of Thrones. The epicness, the immersiveness, just going into this fantastical environment, riding dragons and shit. To me, I've rewatched Game of Thrones probably 3 times, the entire series, and I love it. You know, you can shit on season 8, and you can kind of shit on season 7 for a little bit, but overall, it's such a good immersive show. It's just like there's so many banger episodes throughout that show. Breaking Bad, I've never really had the urge to go back and revisit it. Now, Better Call Saul, I've always had the urge to go back and revisit some of the seasons, but something about Breaking Bad, I don't know. It almost takes too much out of me to revisit some of it. Sour Sweet Gone Girl says, "Season 3 of Stranger Things should have been about Billy picking up chicks, being an asshole, and driving his car like Mad Max." Well, in a way it sort of was, except he got possessed and then started killing people. But Billy is a phenomenal character They could just make a spin-off about Billy had some of the things in season 3 not happen, but I could watch a movie just about Billy. Call me crazy. I like the guy. Like Billy could have his own movie where he's sort of like this sociopath who just like works out and lifts weights and dates chicks. That reminds me of someone from a few years ago. But yeah, I like the character Billy. Night King 01 has been a member for 9 months. Yay! The gang hideout fight scene from Rumble in the Bronx. Also, any fight from Unleashed with Jet Li is good mayhem. Yeah, I loved the I like the fight sequence in Rumble in the Bronx where he gets captured and he's in the dead end alleyway and they're playing baseball and hitting bottles at him. I was like, that's some intense shit. That was a good sequence as well. Grade K says, I suggested a live show tonight and you gave it to us. Thank you for the very generous super chat. And thanks to all of you guys. Sour Sweet Girl, thank you for the super chat. And Greg K, thanks for the super chat, man. But let's answer your question, man. Just got divorced a couple of days ago, and I need the flick book to put a smile on my face. For real. You've helped me through a lot during these rough times. Well, man, life will go on, and I hope it's for the best in the long run. I get it. I've had many breakups over the course of my life, but I will say, after time goes on, you look back, you're like, oh, that was for the best. It's like you dodge a bullet, and you're like, okay, I feel better about this now. So yeah, man. I hope you're doing well, and I hope we can ease the pain for an hour or two here. But thank you so much, man, and I hope you do better. You know what? Go get a gym membership, have a midlife crisis, maybe buy a motorcycle. Do what you got to do, man. But thanks for the question. Beatrix says, Django Unchained shout out is probably my favorite violent mayhem scene. I completely forgot about Django Unchained. Yeah. Another one is Inglourious Bastards, ending Kill Bill 1, ending the Hateful Eight ending, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood ending. Yeah, pretty much every Tarantino ending is the most violent shit you can ever watch. Yes. And don't forget the Mandingo fighting scenes in Django Unchained. That's some brutal shit, man. Just two dudes fighting to the death for the enjoyment of a couple dudes. That's some crazy stuff. Or the scene where he allows the dogs to eat the guy escaping. Now what do you reckon I do with you? Huh? Stephanie Myers says, hey, John, I hope you're well. Well, I hope you're well, too, and thanks for the question, but let's get into it. If you were in trouble and needed a lawyer, who would you pick? Saul from Better Call Saul, or Vinny from My Cousin Vinny? Thanks. I'm going with Saul Goodman. I would kill for a lawyer like Saul Goodman. A guy who's going to do whatever it takes to represent you. That's what I need. Now, Joe Pesci and My Cousin Vinny was a fine lawyer, but I think Saul Goodman would be my preference. Thank you for that. I feel like if I was a lawyer, I'd be like a Saul Goodman lawyer. I fight for the working man because that's who I am and that's who I care about. Mastermind41 says, John, if you could go back in time and play patty cake with any actress in her prime, who would it be? I say Janny Turner, Jennifer Tilly in the 90s. Or yeah, Jennifer Connelly in the mid-90s. I always had a crush on young Jennifer Connelly, like especially in the 90s. And I remember being like a young kid watching The Labyrinth and having a crush. I was like, I want her to be my babysitter where I get kidnapped by David Bowie and she has to come save me. So maybe those. But thank you for the question. Gorilla Beach Holland. No question, but thanks for the super chat, man. X Connor X says, hey, John, I'm going to university in September for film. You contributed to my love of film to a point where it has put me on a path for a better life. Life hasn't been too great for me the past 6 years. Thank you for that, John. Well, thank you for watching, man. And good luck with going to college for film. Dive into it, man. Make connections. Make some shit. Put your name out there. Network. But I hope you have fun nevertheless, man, and good luck, and thanks for watching. Please don't go anywhere. I need you. Jason Nelson says, I saw The Northman. What did you think of the ending? I'm glad they gave us some closure. I almost half expected them not to. I know it's a fable or a story, Shakespeare, Hamlet, the same basic bullet points, but the ending of the movie, half the movie reminded me of The Lion King, which is not a bad thing. It was definitely a better live action adaptation of The Lion King than the live adaptation of The Lion King that we got a few years ago. But no, I like The Northman for the most part. You know, I don't think it's the most rewatchable time period epic, but I did enjoy it for the most part. I really did. The ending was pretty cool and epic. It felt definitely like, it almost felt fantastical, but it held back just enough not to be. But I did enjoy it. Devin Cooley says, what up, Flick Pig? Thoughts on Elvis trailer? I'm going to make it one day, Big Mama. I look like Elvis with these fucking glasses on, don't I? I want everyone to remember my name. Yeah, I don't know what Tom Hanks is doing in that movie. What the fuck is that accent? I'm sure there's probably a real guy that talked like Tom Hanks, but I don't know what that accent is. He almost looks like a Batman villain, and it looks like Tom Hanks with prosthetics on, being Tom Hanks, and it looks very stylized. I'm mildly interested in it, but I don't feel like I would drive and go see it at the theater. It looks like I'd watch it at home, maybe. And the other thing about an Elvis biopic is, are they going to glamorize everything and give you the surface level version of it? Or are they really going to get into the nitty gritty of the Elvis movie? Because the movie that they made about Queen with Freddie Mercury was very surface level, right? And if you want to make a movie about his music, and I guess that would cater to his fans, I get it, but if you're going to make a biopic, like, tell the story, right? And I've heard some crazy stories about Elvis. So it looks a little overly stylized, in my opinion, but I'm mildly intrigued. I hope it's just not like this lighthearted take of his music. I don't want that. Dustin Rich says, would you rather be a woman or have no arms? I had a great joke for that. I'd probably rather be a woman, I guess, than have no arms. Do you guys remember what was it called, that show, The Oblongs? It was an animated show. Mr. Oblong was a guy who had no arms or legs. Either way, that's what you're reminding me. That's what that reminded me of. I'd probably rather be a lady and have arms. Just call me crazy, I guess. Daniel Haku says, hey, John, love you, my man. Well, I love you too. Question, are you a Wes Anderson fan? Excited for his new movie slated in 2022. Not a huge Wes Anderson fan. I like some of his films. I don't necessarily love his films. There's a few I could watch over and over again. Actually, that's a lie. There's not many I could watch over. I've seen some of them. I like the one-off, but I'm more of like, not a big Wes Anderson fan. More of a Paul Thomas Anderson type guy. Joshua Leeson says, have you seen the movie Massive Talent in theaters with Nick Cage? We opened up the live stream talking all about that. That's why I'm wearing Nicolas Cage glasses right now. And that's why I have a Nicolas Cage pillow right here. Probably the least comfortable pillow ever made, but yet soothing at the same time. But yeah, I did see it. I liked it. There's definitely the Nick Cage jokes. I liked that Nick Cage made this movie. They finally made a Nick Cage the meme movie, and I'm fulfilled. All right, the next one comes from, and I'm going to answer a few more questions here, guys. Elvis is the greatest. Yeah, I've heard mixed stories about Elvis, especially when he was younger. Kind of being a shithead person. Just putting that out there. Look at some real life stories of Elvis. Wasn't necessarily the nicest guy ever. Who should I block? Let me know who I need to block. He's as real as a donut. I like that line in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Who am I supposed to block? I can't keep up with the chat over here. All right, let me open up this chat here. All right, guys, I'm going to answer a few more questions. As soon as this chat catches up one day. Hang on. I can't keep up with it. Holy shit, it's moving too quick. Yeah, I don't know who I'm supposed to block. You got to tell me names. John, you need some mods. If you guys are a YouTube member and you want to be a mod, let me know. I'll make you a mod right now. How's that? All right, John, have you played the Batman Arkham games? Bangers. I have not played them. I've heard good things. I dabbled in the first or second one for a minute, but I've never really sat down and played them. That was at a time when I wasn't into video games, so I kind of just took a backseat to those games. Let's see. Block this guy. Okay, let's see. Let me fix something here. Oh, John Slaughter. Yeah, don't spoil the shit, John. Don't be a little asshole. Come on. Come on, Johnny. Here, let me... Hang on. Give me a second here. There we go. Okay. Don't spoil shit. Hang on, I'll make you a mod. Let me figure this out. I hate the way YouTube works. All right. Hang on, I'm trying to make... There you go. Chris, you're a moderator now. The power is yours, as Captain Planet would say. Earth, Wind, Fire, as James Cameron would say, as he makes another Avatar movie. All right. There you go. The next question comes from Dan Sato, sorry. Who would you like to be the next Batman villain that has not been in a movie yet? I know a lot of people are rooting for the Court of Owls. I don't think the Court of Owls are all that intriguing of a main villain. They're sort of like a backbone villain in the movie. I would like to see another character I'm more familiar with. I was kind of looking forward to them redoing Mr. Freeze in a good way. I think that would have been cool. I'm trying to think of I would like to see another redo of Bane, but a villain that has not been in a live action Batman movie. I know some people want Hush to be in the next one. I just feel like the Riddler is Hush. So I'm not quite sure. I would like to see redos of Mr. Freeze. Personally, that's what I think I would rather see. Where did I get these glasses? These are legitimately I think the same glasses Nick Cage wears in the movie Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So they were sent to me by Lionsgate. And they're pretty cool. They're not cheap glasses. They came in a nice case and everything. So I dig them. And they make everything rose colored. They kind of give this appearance of everything. Look at that. Someone says, yeah, obviously Penguin will be in the next installment. But what new character? I just give me some Mr. Freeze in that shit. And then maybe set up the Court of Owls. BTS says, you said you had hours of footage from your Batman review. I say release the Flickster cut. Yeah, the thing is that review is 23 minutes long. I would say I probably cut out another solid 10 minutes of talking about the movie. And a lot of it was just little details and little things I liked and wanted to see. The one thing I regret cutting out was I talked about Commissioner Gordon in the movie a little bit. But yeah, I mostly said everything I wanted to. And maybe I'll do another take on it at some point when the Blu-ray comes out, or I do a re-review of it. But I think I got everything out I wanted to say. Sometimes when I make like a review, there's probably an hour of footage and then I condense it down in like 15 minutes. But a lot of it's just a lot of fuck ups and stuff that doesn't matter. I go off on weird tangents. And I'm like, some people might want to watch this, but it might ruin the pacing of the video. Doesn't Rich says, would you mind if Nick Cage crapped on your bed? Absolutely. Nick Cage can crap on my pillow every night of the week. And I'll sleep in it with a smile on my face. Carlos Fontes says, would you like tonally from the next era of 007? What would I like tonally from the next era of 007? It's one of those things. I think the last installment was kind of getting the tone just right. They were kind of introducing some of the old tech that James Bond used. They were kind of going a little bit more over the top. I remember the one scene where the villains used magnets or something to break in and steal something. I thought that was kind of cool. I liked where they were kind of like pushing the tech to go a little bit more over the top. And I think that was a perfect blend as far as like a tone goes of the last James Bond flick. So I would like something like that. I don't want something over the top and crazy like Fast and Furious has become. But I don't necessarily... I think if it was like Nolan directing it, I think if you made like a ground and Nolan take on James Bond, that could be interesting. So I would actually stick to the tone that the last movie was in. I think they were getting it just right there. 1901 says, I'm surprised that Jared Leto hasn't canceled, considering he's apparently hasn't been canceled. Apparently he's into younger girls. Well, how young? I don't know if that's hearsay, objection, hearsay. I don't know. But at this point, I don't know how people hire him. I don't think he ever helped a movie. I mean, at least in the last 5 years, or any comic book movie for that matter. Sour Sweet Gone Girl says, thoughts on the Barbie movie with Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and Will Ferrell. Apparently it's going to be a rom-com. The fact that Ryan Gosling's going to be in it, I'm hoping it has some like over-the-top dark humor, maybe some adult-oriented humor. It could be fun, or it could be completely awful. Yeah, I don't care either way because it's a Barbie movie. But the fact that Ryan Gosling will be in it, who knows? Maybe it'll be the best Barbie movie ever made. I kind of like Michael Keaton's take on Ken in Toy Story 3, where he played a Barbie. I always thought that would have lent itself to something great. George says, recently saw Downsizing. Terrible movie, great concept. What is another terrible movie with a great concept? Thanks, John. I agree. Downsizing could have been like this really fun movie. I think that script, and I could be wrong, but I think the script of that was around for a very long time. And originally, I could be making this up. I feel like Robin Williams, years ago, was supposed to be in that movie. Years and years ago. But it never happened. I could be wrong. One movie that always disappointed me, 30 Minutes or Less, starring Jesse Eisenberg. As a pizza delivery driver myself for many years in college, I wanted a good pizza delivery movie, like a fun movie, right? And it started off that way for like the first 7 minutes, and then it got really terrible. So I would have liked something like that to be a good movie, like a Clerks meets pizza delivery driving. I think that'd be a good concept. Jason Nelson says, what's the last good movie with Arnie? Into Days? No, Into Days, man, that was like 1999. Come on. He's been in a few okay movies since 1999, hasn't he? I can't think of any. I'm really trying right now. And I can't. You're right. What was the last great Arnold movie? I mean, Terminator 3 came out in 2003, I think. I wouldn't say that was great. Yeah, wow. I'm trying to think of another Arnold movie in the last 20 years that was good. If you guys have one, let me know. I'm trying to think of something else. Collateral Damage? No, Collateral Damage sucked balls. And I remember that movie was supposed to come out right around 9/11. And since the movie deals with terrorism, they delayed it and delayed it. And I was like, and then I watched it. I was like, this isn't very good. Do the glasses help you adjust to the daylight like Batflick or Batpat? Yeah, honestly, these glasses do help because I'm looking at fluorescent lights right now going into my brain. And after I take these glasses off, everything looks really blue and green right now. It looks like the color grading in Ozark. So I'm going to put these back on because they actually do make everything better. Have you ever heard the saying rose-colored glasses? That's what these are. They make everything look better. They kind of make me happier. So if you guys are having a down day, what I recommend to you is buying some Nicolas Cage glasses like this, and they just make everything look pink and happy. I could live in this universe. Last Stand. Even The Last Stand, though, I mean, come on. It wasn't... I watched that once in like 2012, and I was like, it's a disposable action movie. Maggie, I never did see Maggie. But before Arnie gets too old, I would like to see him come back and do something great at least one more time. The fact that they've wasted him on so many Terminator movies at this point really baffles me. Like you had Arnold for the last 2 Terminator movies. You had him. And that's what you decided to do with him. Just a slap in the face. Really angers me. Do you think college is worth it? It depends what you want to do. If you're going to do a job that requires you to have a degree, you have to have a degree for that job. Yes. Also, I think most general jobs require a bachelor's degree. So if you want to go to school and you know you're just going to go get that bachelor's degree, I mean, do online classes at home. Do the cheapest route you possibly can to obtain that degree. It's a piece of paper that accreditates you that people want to see. But get a generalized degree. But if you know what you want to do and it doesn't require college, then don't do it because you can always go whenever you want. I mean, do I regret going? Sort of, kind of. But at the same time, I have that piece of paper, and if I ever need to use it, it might come in handy. It just really depends what you want to do. That's without knowing what you want to do, it's hard for me to give you advice. But nowadays, I mean, with the internet and technology and networking, I feel like if you have something, like if you have a talent and you're good at something, you can probably make a living doing it. All right, the next one it's going to come from somebody here. Let's get it. John is going through his X-Men Cyclops arc. Yes, I am. If I take these off, everyone dies. Expendables was good. I'm going to disagree with you. Expendables was not good. I thought it would be good, but it just felt like Stallone wrote the script in 7 minutes. Do you think the new Nolan film with Cillian Murphy will deliver? Yeah, it's based on the, the creation of the atomic bomb. I like things set in historic time periods. I like history. I hope it's good. But Nolan nowadays is sort of like becoming hit or miss for me. So I'm glad it's something a little more subdued than he's been doing. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad it's not another movie dealing with time for the sake of being convoluted. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, one more question here. We got one from Night King 01 who says, Around the World in 80 Days, hilarious cameo in a terrible movie. I mean, Arnold's playing himself, and he's a giant statue of himself. I never saw that movie. I probably never will, but I remember seeing the trailers for that, and I feel like that movie was almost made. Was that movie sort of almost made for like a Chinese audience? Wasn't like that actually produced by like Chinese studios? I feel like it was. I could be wrong. I feel like that was made specifically for like an overseas market, or at least it was like produced by them. I'm not quite sure on that though. I've got one here from Chris. He says, what are your plans for tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Sunday? I'm not quite sure. Maybe go to the zoo. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe go out to dinner. I'm not quite sure yet. I don't even know what my plans are for today. Call me crazy. Thoughts on Tenet? I've tried to like that movie. I went back and I've tried to rewatch it 4 times now. I make it 37 minutes in and I stop watching it. I just feel like there's just not enough there for me to watch or enjoy. It just feels like a sizzle reel. It feels like all these ideas Nolan wanted to put into a movie, but he couldn't quite figure out the movie to put it into. So it just feels like a hodgepodge of ideas, and it just feels all over the place to me. I don't ever feel like I'm immersed into this story. Like the movie never gets me into the story, makes me care about anyone in it. I think No Time to Die is better than Tenet. Yeah. Dustin Rich says, watch LA Confidential again. I think of it as a noir film with Wolverine and Cyclops. Oh, LA Confidential is a film noir movie all day long, man. Definitely. That's a good movie. Kim Basinger. Yeah, I liked it. I've seen it maybe once or twice. I remember the first time I watched LA Confidential. It was it was like the first ever DVD release of the movie. And it came in this really shitty little snap case. And that was the DVD cases that had the paper cover and it snapped together. It was just like the chintziest little piece of trash you could ever buy. And the bitrate quality, because keep in mind, this was one of the first DVDs ever released of LA Confidential. I remember the bitrate quality on my HD TV just looked like shit. Like it just looked, I remember like looked pixelated. Oh yeah, man. It just, so I need to go rewatch that. Yeah. Night King of One says, no, John, the Disney movie that came out in 2004. Which Disney movie are we talking about that came out in 2004? I don't know which one we're talking about. Which Disney movie in 2004? National Treasure? National Treasure came out 2005, right? Yeah. Kyle says, why did Tiny Todd have to die? You're the man, John. Tiny Todd had to die for all of our sins. And we should all take a moment of silence and say thank you, Tiny Todd, for dying for our sins. That little plastic skeleton is the reason you or I get to enjoy our freedoms today, okay? I'll leave it there. I don't want to get emotional on this stream. I don't know. I just felt like it was weird for me to talk to a little plastic skeleton. But then again, it was kind of nice. I kind of miss it. So who's to say Tiny Todd can't be resurrected from the pits of hell? Those glasses remind me of Jeff Goldblum as Dr. Ian Malcolm. And that comes from Gorilla Beach, Holland. Yeah, I could see that, except his glasses weren't rose-colored tinted. Did anyone watch the NFL draft? No. I know I didn't. We talked about Moon Knight earlier. So if you think we missed something, I assure you we probably talked about it. Bring back Tiny Todd. National Treasure came out in 2004. I guess you're right. It did come out. Did it come out in 2000? Yeah, you're right. 2004. 5, 6. The second one came out in 2007 then? Night King 01 says, Arnold, the world, I keep saying Arnold, Around the World in 80 Days, 2004 Disney movie. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same thing, aren't we? Or are we talking about something different? I don't know. What was that other Arnold movie that came out like 10 years ago? What was that called? It had like fantastical characters in it. Halloween Kills still sucks. I agree. I didn't like it. It dedicates 30 minutes to a subplot that just doesn't matter. Why? Because they didn't have anything else to show you in the movie. Secular Monk says, if you could pick the next Bond, who would you pick? That's a tough question. I don't know. I really don't. Maybe Tom Hardy, I think, would be an interesting choice. I'd probably, if I had to pick a safe bet, I'd pick Henry Cavill. I just think he looks like he could be James Bond. If he's not going to play Superman, make the guy James Bond. Why would you waste him? Mike Mula says, did Bale play a better Bruce Wayne than Pattinson? The thing about Pattinson's Bruce Wayne was he hasn't taken that persona. He's not even a human. He just lives to be Batman. Batman is like a heroin addiction to him. That's all he wants to do. That's all he cares about. Everything else is just obligatory. So when we finally get that persona of billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, then I think that's a better take that we could give a judgment on. But in this movie, he was just living to be Batman. Like everything else was just like, okay, I'm awake now. I'm gonna eat some cereal, put my sunglasses on like I'm a vampire, and go back to bed. So, Bruce Wayne is this moody guy who only wants to fight crime. I think that was a good portrayal of him this early on as Batman. In the next movie, we'll get a different version of a different version of Bruce Wayne, where now he probably gets to the point where he knows he can be a philanthropist of Gotham City. He can use his name and his money to do good. And I think we'll see like more of a balance of that possibly. These are just assumptions. I'm not quite sure. Halloween kills my brain cells. It killed any anticipation I had for the next movie. That's what it killed for me. Okay, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions. And then I'm going to let you guys get back to your lives tonight. And I hope you guys enjoyed it thus far. But let me answer just a few more questions. Night King 01 says, we already answered that. Okay, here it is. Night King 01 says, I'm talking about Around the World, 80 Days with Jackie Chan and Steve Coogan. It's so bad you have to see it at least once for Arnold's cameo. I feel like we're talking about the same movie. Maybe we're talking about the same movie. I think so. I didn't think of another Around the World in 80 Days. I know what you're talking about. Pattinson is having a character arc. People just don't understand that. Yeah, he's not just going to be the Batman that you know in every Batman movie in the first Batman movie. Just give him time. Now, this version of Batman had an arc, which I talked about in my review, which, by the way, you should go watch it. But yeah, there was an arc for Batman. The Bruce Wayne arc will come in the next movie. Just my speculation, though. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. But like I said earlier, if you guys haven't watched the newest Flip Chart video, which is live now on this channel, go check it out for a chance to win the Spider-Man No Way Home 4K. And it's a good flip trip, nevertheless. But yeah, go watch that video for a chance to win this shit, and I'll announce this on the next live show. And I want one of you guys to win that. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out, and thanks for 100,000 subscribers on this channel. That's crazy to me. I do thank you guys for that. It's weird. It just kind of came up quick. But nevertheless, 100,000 people. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So anyway, and someone asked, are you excited for Avatar 2? We talked about that early. We talked about everything earlier in the live show. I assure you, if you go back, we talked about everything. So just skim back after the live show's over and rewatch it. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys next time. And I'll probably have a couple of first reactions to Doctor Strange 2. I will definitely have an in the movie theater reaction with no spoilers. And I'll probably upload another spoiler reaction video in the movie theater talking about it with spoilers. So maybe I'll put both those out the night it comes out. And then the review might take a day or two. But as always, guys, take care, stay safe. We have one more question from Night King 01 because he always does this. But I'm not complaining. John, you bring me to my happy place. Well, I had a happy thought. You know what it was? It was you. And it made me fly and wear green spandex tights as I flew around fighting a guy with a hook. All right, guys. Stay safe and take care, and I'll see you guys very soon. Have a good night. Bye-bye.